Throughout Chicago's history, Holy Family Church has stood as a monument to the vision and sacrifice of Chicago's Roman Catholics.
See, that church just isn't about Saint Ignatius. We're part of the Catholic Church, which is a worldwide community of believers.
With its imposing facade on Roosevelt Road, this Gothic cathedral is the center of faith life for the West Chicago Parish and Saint Ignatius College Prep. Intertwined inextricably with the school next door, these sister institutions today stand sentry over an ever-changing neighborhood and radiate out a perpetual message of strength, majesty, and faith.
The sense I have is it's our spiritual home.
People feel a strong connection to the church because it is an outward expression of what's going on inside of their soul.
Holy Family's history begins with one single, larger-than-life man and stands today as a testament to the foresight and labor of early Chicago Catholics. The founding of Holy Family would be impossible to divorce from its founder, Father Arnold Damon S.J. This enthusiastic young Jesuit, born in the Netherlands at the beginning of the 19th century, was called to Chicago in 1856. Noted early on for both his imposing stature and spirit, Damon was the perfect figure to pioneer the first Jesuit presence in Chicago. The young Chicago diocese, founded only 13 years before Father Damon arrived in Chicago, offered him the already established Holy Name Cathedral as the launching pad for the Jesuit presence in the booming Midwest Mecca. A man of no small plans, Damon had ideas of something grander than Holy Name and looked west of the city towards the open prairie. In the 1850s, Irish immigrants arrived in Chicago in search of work and congregated in a massive shanty town on the western border of the city. Out of this wilderness, Damon chose a site where an earlier Jesuit pioneer, Father Marquette, in 1675 encamped as the first European inhabitant of Chicago. With this Jesuit history literally supporting the ground his parish stood on, Damon raised close to $30,000 between his May 4th arrival and the beginning of April for the construction of a new church. In early July 1857, construction was completed on a two-story, 500-seat church known as Holy Family. Within that next year, 2 more additions were required due to the overflow, and Damon soon realized that his first itineration was not enough. 1 month after the first church was completed, Damon held another ceremony to lay the cornerstone of a new church, the Holy Family we know today. Damon knew this new church would have to be a beacon to the poor Irish immigrants who made up his parish, so he settled for nothing less than the best. Hiring the prominent Chicago architect John M. Van Osdale, the two men decided on a neo-Gothic theme. Enlisting the help of Anthony Boucher, a local carpenter who specialized in cigar store Indians, to create a series of statues, Damon's plans for a new church were ready. Now, all that was needed was funding. A larger church required more ingenuity, and in the midst of a national financial panic, Father Arnold Damon was broke.
So in the midst of the financial panic, he forges ahead. Others would have just stopped. This is it, we're pulling out of Chicago. He never wavered.
The Jesuit provincials in St. Louis only granted his request for funds intermittently, so Damon was forced to hold parish fairs, go on lecture tours, or ask parishioners for money directly. At one point, Damon even resorted to spooning sugar into his pockets out of a wealthy parishioner's sugar bowl in order to pay off outstanding bills. Finally, after 3 years of construction, Holy Family Church was dedicated on August 26, 1860. Contemporary newspapers' accounts gushed over the upstart Catholic cathedral, asserting that, interiorly, Holy Family Church is, architecturally, one of the most beautiful churches in the United States. Not satisfied with only a church, Damon planned to build a school right next door. These plans had to be shelved due to the Civil War, and it wasn't until 7 years after the completion of the church that Damon could muster enough support to begin construction. He repeated his lecture tours, published essays, and negotiated a $100,000 loan from a Dutch businessman, the brother of a Jesuit Damon had worked with in the past. Construction lasted from 1867 to 1870. On September 5, 1870, 37 young men became the first students at Saint Ignatius College. Then, in 1871, disaster struck. Only a year after completing the final phase of his dream, a fire started on October 8th in local parishioner Kate O'Leary's barn and soon grew out of control. Father Damon was in Brooklyn at the time, and when he was alerted to the danger, he dropped everything and prayed to Our Lady of Perpetual Help, promising to keep 7 lights burning in her memory if she would only save his church. Rushing home, he arrived to an utterly destroyed city. Only to discover the fire had shifted course right before Holy Family.
They say the wind shifted, it burned the city of Chicago down, and the church was spared, and the candles were lit, and originally candles, then gas lamps, and now electricity, and they're still lit in the east transept of the church.
Though today the candles are electric, 7 lights still burn before the altar, night and day, forever honoring the first miracle on Roosevelt Road. With the church and college saved from the Great Chicago Fire, Father Damon resumed his work as the first president of Saint Ignatius and continued the coordination of such a massive congregation. As his health failed, Damon stepped down in 1888 and moved to Creighton College in Omaha, Nebraska, passing away on January 1st, 1889. Leaving Chicago forever changed, Father Damon's legacy lies not only in the long-standing Holy Family Church and its sister institution, Saint Ignatius College Prep, but also in his impacts with the people of the parish. Damon Avenue was named in memory of him, but more importantly, families who populate the street can all point to someone born, married, or given a funeral mass in Holy Family. At Damon's Golden Jubilee celebration of his priesthood, the Honorable William J. Count Onahan perhaps stated Damon's legacy most eloquently. From countless homes and hearts, all over this land and across the sea, before many altars, in convents and monasteries of every order and every community, prayers of thanksgiving will ascend to heaven today for all the multiplied blessings and benefits you have conferred on mankind. Holy Family Church did not stop growing after Father Damon died. By 1890, the parish had grown to almost 25,000 men, women, and children, making Holy Family the largest English-speaking congregation in Chicago. 23 priests gave 3 masses daily, with 40 sisters teaching in 5 grade schools, a printing plant, a school for deaf mutes, and St. Ignatius College's 500-plus young men. Holy Family was an inspiration for the poor Irish immigrants who, looking at what their nickels and dimes could do, began to raise themselves out of poverty and work up in society. The first Irish immigrants worked so hard that soon they were moving out of the parish, west, into more affluent and middle-class suburbs. New immigrants began filling in the vacant housing, and Holy Family soon transitioned to become a predominantly Italian parish. Also during this time, St. Ignatius College was absorbed into Loyola University, and the first Catholic college in Chicago became the high school we know and love today. The next wave of immigrants after the Italians were African Americans, who migrated in large numbers starting in the 1930s. Followed soon after by Latin American immigrants in the middle of the 20th century, each of these immigrant groups left their marks on Holy Family. No other church in the world has a statue of Saint Joseph wearing a bowler hat, lording over a painting of the Black Risen Christ that faces a portrait of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Each of these different ethnic groups have seen the church as an inspiration, a testament to what faith and hard work can create, a beacon of history and strength.
Oh, Jesus, can you help me now?
By the 1980s, however, the church and the city it lorded over had become uninhabited. Years of neglect had taken their toll, and falling plaster made having Mass so unsafe that by 1984, the main body of the church was closed.
It was not clean. In fact, the high school was using it as a storage, the main body of the church.
The cathedral on the prairie was past its prime, and the Jesuit provincials knew it. On Christmas morning 1987, Father William Spine, the pastor at the time, announced to his flock that the order had been passed down to close Holy Family, demolish the church, and build a smaller, more cost-effective structure.
Merry Christmas, folks. We're going to tear your church down.
The parishioners leapt into action. Symbolically vetoing Spine's decision, in early 1988 they voted him out of office and created the Holy Family Preservation Society in order to save the church.
Looking ahead, our $4 million fund drive starts tomorrow to save the landmark Holy Family Church on the city's west side.
Historic Holy Family Church on Chicago's near west side. There's new hope tonight that a Chicago landmark will be saved. An old Catholic church in downtown Chicago that weathered the Great Fire and the deteriorating neighborhood now faces its greatest challenge, fending off demolition.
By 1990, the fundraising group had miraculously raised over $700,000. In July of that same year, the Jesuits informed the society their efforts would be in vain if they could not raise the remaining $300,000 by December 31st. With the deadline only 5 months away, Father Lane and the Preservation Society faced impossible odds. As December loomed closer and closer, Lane and a board member, Dick Barry, decided to take a page out of Father Damon's playbook. On December 26th, a prayer vigil was held outside the church, begging people to say prayers and send money. On December 30th, the Feast of the Holy Family, the church was opened up to the public as a last-ditch effort to save the church. The struggle of the small parishioners versus the big Jesuits was picked up by all the national news syndicates, becoming the feel-good Christmas story of 1990. Over 3,000 people toured the decrepit building, all with different stories of how this one single church had changed their lives. When the dust had settled, the Holy Family Preservation Society had raised over $1 million, enough to stave off the wrecking.
To the hundreds and thousands of people who have brought $1, $5, $50, $500, $5,000, and up to $100,000 checks. Over the last 2 days, we have had $290,000 in new money come into us, which has brought us to this tremendous goal.
The second miracle on Roosevelt Road brought Chicago together to save a piece of its past, becoming yet another chapter in the church's storied history of strangers creating something amazing against impossible odds. Restoration work began almost immediately as Holy Family Church was prepared to greet the new millennium and ensure that this historical masterpiece would be able to weather whatever future challenges arose. Restoration continued until 2003 with well over $5 million worth of work. All of the original stenciling was uncovered, while the stained glass windows, altar, and pews were restored to their original grandeur.
Awesome.
Though built before Saint Ignatius College Prep, these two institutions are forever intertwined, both literally and historically.
Not impressed.
With their doors open wide, both Saint Ignatius College Prep and Holy Family Church stand as a testament to the history of Chicago Catholics, but most importantly, as centers of prayer, community, and life.
Magnificent.
Forever towering over Roosevelt Road as proof of what hard work and faith can do.